Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Genki Lesson 6 question and answer live stream. Good to see you guys. Thank you to everyone who was just at the premiere of the replay for the Genki Lesson 6 stream cut. And good evening to Sophia's Animation Studio. Come to Japan, Dan, my trusty mod. Subscribe to his channel. He's like 10 seconds away from getting that little money sign in the bottom of his chat. Just a couple hours away, so go watch a few of his videos after this one, of course. Kirsty Cash, Meng, and C. Antonym, and that Kyle guy, and of course Yuki, and who else did I miss? Fatima, konnichiwa, konbanwa, ohayou gozaimasu to everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. We had a pretty good weekend over here. It just rained a bit today, but it was okay weather. It wasn't too hot, and we were down at Yuki's parents for her family's house for the weekend, which was really nice. We just got back about an hour ago, just in time for this. That's what we rushed back for, actually. So I hope everyone had a good weekend. I know it's Sunday morning for a lot of you, maybe Sunday afternoon. Sundays are, bittersweet if you have work on Monday. I have a couple hours of work tomorrow, so there's that. But anyway, it's good to see y'all. And hello, Lewis. Good to see you again. It's been a long time, as in like 5 minutes, I guess. And Carpe Diem, I don't think I said hi to you earlier. So it's good to see you guys. So tonight we are going over the Lesson 6 Q&A. Of course, I just want to point out that what is this? There's like a Q&A. Oh, that's cool. You can have a Q&A. There's like a Q&A tool here. Interesting. I've never used that. Sorry, I got distracted, guys. Let's try that again. So anyway, I usually do these Q&As the week after the actual live stream. So like in this case, I do it after Lesson 6, and it's about Lesson 6 technically, but I'm very willing to answer questions about any of the lessons in Genki or anything in general about Japanese, or anything in general. It doesn't even have to be about Japanese. I don't care. It's just a Q&A stream, and basing it on the Lesson 6, the previous live stream, sort of gives us some focus that we can keep moving forward, especially in case no one has any questions. But thank you for being here. I want to take a quick moment to thank all of my patrons. I know there's a few patrons here, and I just want to say thank you so much for supporting myself and Yuki's work here on YouTube and on Patreon. And for those of you who aren't able to be patrons, that's completely fine, and I thank you for supporting us by being here, hitting that like button, chatting in chat, asking questions, and doing your best to learn Japanese. That every little bit is awesome. So it's great to see you guys here tonight. Tara says it's 8 a.m. in Florida. Oh yeah, so it's 13 hours difference. My dad actually lives in Florida. My mom's up in New Jersey, so it's the same time difference. It's a little bit awkward, but it's not too bad, yeah? But also Florida. Hope you're doing okay down there. Does not sound like things are going awesome in Florida right now. 9,500 new cases of you-know-what today. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that because I'm sure people don't want to come here to talk about that. They have enough of that in their lives every single day. So Chris just subscribed to Dan, yeah, and Nikki Nix. Hey, I finally made one. Ohio, Nikki. Thanks. I'm glad you were able to make one finally. It's a weird time, so I know it's hard for a lot of people to be here, but I appreciate every one of you and everyone that's watching on the replay. I don't think too many people watch the Q&As on the replay. If you do watch in the replay, please type boom into the comments down below and let me know that you're actually watching this Q&A and you've actually made it this far already. How many minutes are we in? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. 16 minutes in? That would be pretty impressive. So, Seabold Speaks. Ohio, good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. Seabold Speaks also has a YouTube channel. He does lots of language learning streams almost every day over on his channel. He's interviewing someone new in the language learning community, so check him out as well. Ian says it's 10 p.m. here, just finished FaceTiming with my parents in the UK where it's 1 p.m. Time differences, man, they're such a pain in the neck. I haven't talked to my family in a very long time, like live. My family's busy, I'm super busy. We find it very hard to actually get our time zones worked out, but yeah, we do what we can. Konbanwa Mist. Good to see ya. Whenever I see your name, Mist Raven, I always think Mist Riven, and I think you're talking about the games Mist and Riven, but I'll try and not make that mistake too many times. Yep, still watching, but it's nearly bedtime. I hear you, man. Sleep is important, so don't feel like you have to stick around at all. But thank you for being here while you are. Boom! I do watch them. There is always something to take away. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. So let's go ahead and jump in to the question and answer session. If anyone has any questions they would like answered about Japanese or about lesson 6 or about anything in Genki in general, please feel free to pop them into the chat. Myself and or Yuki will pick them out. And, well, actually, she's making something. She's making something important right now that I'm going to tell you about at the end of the live stream. So, oh my god, my nose is itchy already. This always happens during live streams. My nose gets extremely itchy. But anyway, in lesson 6, we covered the te form, polite requests using the te form, sequencing events using the te form, you may, or may I in Japanese, using the te form, prohibiting activities, so forbidding things with a te form, and then a random section on explaining a reason, which I ranted about a lot last week. I'll probably rant about it again today, and offering assistance to someone using a grammar point from the last lesson. So the last 2 points are a little bit awkward in this lesson, but the first 5 all involve the te form, so that's what we went over last week. So I'm curious if anyone has any questions on the te form. One thing I wanted to bring up and remind you guys of is that while the past tense is not introduced until I think around lesson 8 or 9, in Genki, you already know how to make the past tense, the informal past tense in Japanese, because if you learn the te form, it's exactly the same. Instead of te, though, it's ta for the past tense. And instead of de, so like with verbs that end in mu, nu, and bu, instead of nde, it's nda. So that's the only difference when you're making the past tense. So that's a cool little thing. Let's see. I missed last week. I'll be watching it on replay. I feel like te form is used so often and I have no clue what the heck is going on. LOL. I just finished chapter 6 a day ago, but I don't think prohibition is really used daily for my purpose. No. The prohibition one is pretty uncommon. You'll see it on signs and stuff, or you'll hear it in classes when people are teachers are telling people things they can and can't do and stuff like that. But you're not going to use te wa ikemasen too often in your day to day. Yes, even the irregulars are the same. Just to give you a super fast recap, Siebold speaks. There are 4 different, I guess 5 technically different endings for the te form based on the final character in whatever verb there is. So in the dictionary form, right? So if it ends in u, you make it small tsu and te, same for tsu and do verbs, except for iru and eru ichidan verbs. Su becomes shite, so you cut the su, add shite. Mu becomes nde. Nu becomes nde, bu becomes nde. Ku becomes ite, and gu becomes ide, and those you just have to memorize those endings. So for example, utao becomes utatte. Noru becomes notte. Matsu becomes matte. Kiku becomes kiite. Isogu becomes isoide. So basically, just like there's no easy rule like there was in chapter 3 that applies to every single verb. There's actually 5 endings, and you just have to memorize those, unfortunately. But I showed you guys I showed a song that might help with that in the live stream last week. So enjoy that. I don't know if you like learning with songs, but that might help you memorize these endings a little bit better. And there's some other fun songs that are actually on. Somebody posted a couple in the Discord. I think you're in there. Yeah, you are in there. You might be able to see that in the recommended now listening to, or maybe I can't remember exactly where. But anyway, mu becomes nonde, asobu becomes asonde, shinu becomes shinde, and hanasu becomes hanashite. And the te form on its own is basically a, what do you call it? A request. You're requesting someone to do these things. So that's basically the te form. And there's, of course, I'll just mention ichidan verbs, the same as with all the other things. They're a little bit different. So if it ends in eru or iru, it's easy. You just cut the ru and you add te in place of it. So miru becomes mite, neru becomes nete, okiru becomes okite. And that's it. And the exceptions are all the same as they were for the other verbs. And then the irregulars are kuru and suru as always. Kuru becomes kite, suru becomes shite, and for the te form in the informal past tense, there's one more irregular, and that's iku. If you looked at the old rules, you would think it would become ite, but it's actually ite with a small tsu in the te. And that's the te form. So let's see if we have any questions on that. I just finished chapter 6. Okay, I read that. Can you further explain the usage of kara? I encountered how it's used to indicate from, as in how it's almost an adverb, like a letter from a friend. Can you please explain? Sí, antonym. So that is a usage of kara that hasn't been covered yet. There goes my fans. Mad crazy. That usage of kara hasn't actually been covered yet in Genki. So you are correct. Kara can be used to mean from, like literally just translated as from, like from a friend. If you're writing a letter, at the end of the letter you might write Andy kara, so from Andy, basically. Or on a present, Andy kara. And it can also mean from in relation to time expression. So ichiji kara means from 1 o'clock. So ichiji kara niji made means until, basically. Means from 1 o'clock until 2 o'clock. But the kara that's covered here in Genki is actually, you should think of it as a completely different expression. It's the same characters, but it's used differently. The kara that we'll go over, like we'll get to in a little bit, it's basically a conjunction. It's not basically a conjunction. It is a conjunction, which means because or so. So we've got a reason, kara, which means so or therefore, and then the explanation of that reason. For some reason, Genki in this lesson presents it as a sentence ender, which is actually an irregular usage of it that just happens in conversation. I don't know why they presented it that way. I'll probably rant about that a little bit more later, but those are basically, they're two separate words you could think of kara. Two different things that are used in completely different ways. So I hope that helps explain that a little bit. Is Ikemasen and naranai interchangeable? You need wa before naranai. I need an example. So ikemasen, kite wa, but yes. If you're just talking about kite wa, it depends on Kei-san. The situation we're talking about. Ikemasen and naranai are not exactly interchangeable, especially if they're on their own. Ikemasen just means cannot do, whereas naranai is a conjugation of naru, which means to become. So naranai means to not become, whereas ikemasen is translated literally as it's a conjugation of ikeru. I'm typing this in the chat right now. And the negative is ikemasen, which means cannot do. So they're not really quite the same. If you're talking about the conjugation yatte wa from I think it's lesson 11 or 12, yaranakia ikenai and yaranakereba naranai and stuff like that, they are used in similar ways sometimes, but they're not exactly interchangeable. The ways they're going to be used in different grammar structures are going to be different. You're going to need different things like yatte wa ikemasen. Can you even use naranai in the same meaning? Yatte. Yaranakke. You can say that? I've never heard that. Oyoide wa naranai? I've never heard that before. Have you heard that before? You? I've never heard that. Apparently you can say naranai in place of ikemasen, but I've never actually heard it ever before in conversation. Yuki says she's heard tabete wa naranai. I've never heard it, but obviously she's native, so she's heard more Japanese in her life than I am. So take my input on this one with a grain of salt. But ikemasen is, I think, I've heard that many, many times, and I've seen it written many, many times. So I'd say that's more common. Ikemasen is more common, desho? Wa ikemasen. Yeah, okay. Gotta watch out conflating su and suru after you start doing te form. Yes. Yes. Are you going to sing the hiragana kakiku song then, Andy? I did at the end of the last stream. I haven't practiced since then, so it's not going to be any better than that. I am going to make a video after I actually go ahead and learn it and play it on guitar or something at some point. I really am going to do that. Junie is bored. Hello, welcome to the stream. Hi, Andy. I've been watching your Genki series for almost 2 now, and just wanted to drop by and say thank you for your hard work. Can't wait for your eventual Genki 2 series. Thank you. Thank you so much for stopping by, and thank you for, I guess, the compliment. Thank you. I'm looking forward to the Genki 2 series as well. It's going to be fun to cover some new stuff again. It's going to be a lot more complicated. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it again. It'll probably be very, very similar to these streams, but I might have to stretch them out a little bit because they cover a lot more complicated topics. But I'm also looking forward to it. We'll get there. We're almost there. We're past the halfway point in Genki 1, so that's exciting. Should it be te form and not te form? Te form. Yes, it should be te form. Te form is probably not quite correct. Te form. Hi, Andy, says Adiputra. Hello. Thank you so much for your lessons. It helped me so much. I just moved to Tokyo and been following your lessons to get me started on... You're welcome. Thank you for watching, and I hope that they help you out in your in the start of your life in Tokyo. Hope you're enjoying Tokyo as well. My first exposure to kara was in something like America kara Nihon made. Yes, that's the most common. That's not the most common, but that is a usage of kara, which means from. And then something like America kara kimashita. Yes, I come from, or I came from America. And those are both the same usage of kara, but not the one that's actually covered in this lesson in Genki. This is the other one, the conjunction. You're welcome, Siantanim. Any good resources or tips on listening for those stops, as in itte? Not that I know of. It's something you sort of just get used to. Using it helps a lot, like practicing using it and copying maybe like single vocabulary words that you look up. You can use like Google Translate and just look up words like that and then copy it, which helps a little bit. Otherwise, you just got to be carefully listen for it and sort of speak a little bit more slowly or slow down. Like you can slow down a video or song or something in Japanese 50% and it'll be a little bit more obvious, but kite versus kite. Oh yeah. Those are hard. I don't know of any resources specifically for that, but you get used to it over time. It becomes pretty obvious. Like kite versus kite is quite different when you get used to hearing it. Even you can probably even hear it if it's pointed out, if they're juxtaposed, right? Kite, 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 right? That little pause in between is it's pretty obvious when you get used to it. Sorry for the silly question. Was there a silly question? Oh yeah. No worries. Konnichiwa minasan, says Patrick. Patrick, good evening. My iTalk lesson was a bit later, so I joined right after. Nice. Lots of Japanese for you today. Awesome. You eventually just get used to it. Agreed. Can you explain how adverbs like amari are used? Genki doesn't teach where you put it. Yes. But I have something better. I actually did a video that went over amari in detail. I'm going to send you the link to that. Let's see if I can find it. It was quite a while ago. But every time someone asks me this, I give them this video. And so far, I've heard that it's been quite useful in answering that question. Better than probably I could answer on stream. But short answer is that amari must be used with negative verbs. Get shareable link, post in chat. Here's a video I did that covers amari in detail. So I would definitely check that out to get some examples on how to use it and to find out some of the ways it's used and some of the variations in it in conversation. Genki pretty much does teach you where to put it. There's not too many places. It's the same as any other adjective as well as far as placement goes, but it must be used with negative verbs. Yeah, it has to be used with negatives. You can't use it with positive verbs. Like ammari iku makes no sense. Ammari ikanai means I don't go often. Very much is basically the meaning of that. So you can put it almost anywhere in the sentence as long as it comes before that negative verb. But that video right there will be much more useful. Look, it's an Andy. Hi, Andy. Fupa Lord. Good evening. And Michael Green is cursing in chat. Awesome. I don't know what he's talking about either. But good evening, Michael Green. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. Demigaijin daro. Japanese descriptors, whether adnominal and adverbial, yes, do tend to precede what they qualify. Word. Thanks a lot, Andy. I'll view it later. No problem. Kimono I de ina deme. Okay, let's go ahead and boom. That's easier. Okay. So, moving on. Okay. That's easier. On we go. So if anyone doesn't have any more questions on te, we're going to move on to the next section, which was pretty straightforward. It was just te kudasai, which is the polite request form. So it's basically the te form. It's just like the te form. The te form on its own is a request, but to make it a little bit more polite, we add the actual word for please, just like in English, which is kudasai. Kudasai. So we use it along with the te form, like tatte kudasai. And mite kudasai, and shower wo abite kudasai. Basically like that. Yuki is looking at me weird. Okay. Anyway, so that was basically what we covered on the te kudasai form. And yeah, does anyone have any questions on that? I think if you understand the te form, this is extremely straightforward. It's literally just adding a word to the end of it, and then you have a polite request, basically. I was told that kudasai can be rude in some situations. Is that true? Kudasai can be rude. Did the person who told you that give you any examples? I can't think of any, and neither can Yuki off the top of our heads. Any situations where kudasai would be rude?
Give it to me.
Can that be rude? I guess it depends on the situation. If you're not using it in... Huh? Okay, yeah. I guess that could be. If you're using it... Like if you use it in an older person. Okay, yeah. So if you're using it in this form, te kudasai, it's not impolite. Now, if you're using it alone to request things, which you can do, you can say things like kudasai. That can be a little bit rude. Like if you're asking your boss to give you a snack, like they're eating a snack and you're like kudasai. Like that could be a little rude, but it's very contextual. I don't think it's rude. Certainly not te kudasai. Let's see. Ryu says kudasai is an adjective. Yeah, I think it's an adjective. Let's see. Jisho. Kudasai. Kudasai is please, and I believe it's an expression, I guess, according to dictionary. Demo,形容詞だよね。違う？うん。もともとはそうだね。I don't think it's technically an adjective. You can't really use it to describe anything or to modify anything. Like, you can't modify nouns with kudasai. It's more of a request. So it's like it's a polite expression. So I don't think it's an adjective. Maybe like way, way back at some point in time it was an adjective, but in modern Japanese, I don't think it is. Isn't it just a suffix to indicate please? Yes. Maybe because it's less polite than onegai shimasu. It would also be kind of weird or impolite to just say onegai shimasu randomly to anyone that isn't a friend. Like if someone's eating something and you're just like onegai shimasu, it's kind of rude. So it's a very contextual thing. But like even if you were to say in English like, oh, please, randomly to someone who had something that you just wanted for no real reason, that's obviously rude. But the word itself is not rude. Hey people, says Kyushu Trail. Hey Kyushu Trail. Kyushu Trail is another YouTuber, along with Come to Japan Dan and Seabolt Speaks. He doesn't do language learning, but he does mountain climbing and hiking here in Japan, specifically in southern Japan, Kyushu. His videos are fun too, so check him out. I was thinking it could be conjugated as if it were an adjective. Like kudasaimasen? I know it could be kudasai No, you can't really conjugate it like kudasai. Kudasaimasen ka wa ieru kedo. You can't conjugate it like an adjective, like kudasakute. You can't. No, you can't conjugate it like an adjective. It's more conjugated similarly to a verb, actually, like kudasaimasen and stuff like that. Just installed a ceiling fan. Nice. LOL. Thanks again, Andy. Yuta said in his video he was offended when his girlfriend's mother keep using kudasai to request things and he was offended. Anyway, thanks for clarifying. Yuta tends to get offended at a lot of things. So, I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, so I don't know if that's accurate. But I think it's very contextual. That has nothing to do with the word. So that's even with any language, really. Like, you could make anything rude using different tone of voice or in inappropriate situations. Like, if someone was saying please sarcastically over and over again, obviously it's not polite. But that doesn't mean the word is impolite. It means the way you're using it is impolite. But I don't think there's any situation that any of us are going to be in anytime soon where kudasai is going to be impolite. So don't worry about it too much. Simpy, good morning. Good to see ya. No, I was mistaken. I mistook an E nominal stem for the E adjectival. Yes. Okay, enjoying this lesson. So instead of sleep, I've got out the cheese and red wine. This is the best way to study Japanese. I could go for some cheese. Cheese あるんだっけ? カメンベールがある。あります。食べますか? 食べません. Yuki says we're not eating cheese. She totally wants to. I totally want to. But anyway, please leave can be rude enough. Word. 帰ってください. Yeah, if you were to say go home, please. Depending on the situation, it could be rude. But depending on if it's like, for example, if you're at a bar and you're wasted and like really bad and the bartender says 帰ってください, that's polite. He's politely requesting that you go home because you're making a fool of yourself. Yeah, but there's more polite ways to say it, of course, but it's not impolite, I don't think. Please leave. It's apparently an inflection of kudasaru. Yes, it is, which is one of those weird aru verbs that it's like a keigo verb, right? Kudasaru. Yes, exactly. I'm English. You can change the tone and say someone is really pretty, but your tone indicates the person is ugly. Exactly. English is brutal. Sarcasm is brutal. Sarcasm isn't really used the same way in Japanese. Like, you can't necessarily... Like, you can't say, kawaii. I mean, I guess you can to mean that it's not cute. But it's not really... People don't get it. Like, I've seen people do it, and I've done it myself. Tried to use English-style sarcasm with Japanese, and it just doesn't really work. 食べてください. There's no small tsu there, but it was very close. 食べてください. オランダにとても暑いです. 昨日32度でした. Woo! 32 degrees yesterday. Rough. It was like 26 today. It was 32 degrees last week. I think when I go to work on Wednesday or Thursday, it's going to be about 32 degrees. That's going to suck. But anyway, cheese kudasai. Nice. Perfect. Is nakute the te form of nai? It is. It is kei-san. It is the te form of nai. We're going to go over that. I think we go over that. Did we cover that in this lesson or is that in the next lesson? I can't remember if it's in the slides that I'm working on now. It is. It's in the slides that I'm working on now. Nakute is the te form of nai. And kute is how you do the te form of any adjective. And because you conjugate nai as if it were an e adjective, for what it's worth. それ私のチーズって says Yuki. The language in which it's easiest in my mind to be rude is French. French has so much profanity. I believe it. I believe it. It sounds like it would be very easy to be impolite in French. Thanks for the correction. I blame autocorrect. No worries, yeah. Okay, so I think we've got kudasai taken care of. That was a more interesting conversation about kudasai than I was expecting. I thought that one was going to be super straightforward. Nice. Thank you for the questions. I appreciate it. Seriously. So it looks like I'm getting all choppy over there on screen. I don't know if the actual... Oh, this might help. Gotta let my fans go up a little bit. Even the word for sarcasm is weird. Hiniku, yeah. It's not quite what you think, right? Adjectives get a te form also. Yes, in lesson 7, we're going to cover the te form of adjectives, and it's usually used to connect adjectives, to have more than one adjective. So yeah, that is definitely a thing. So the next section was describing a sequence of events using the te form, which is something you can do. You can just take the te form and then add a second event. The tense of the whole clause is determined by the final verb in the clause. So for example, itte tabemasu, so I go, and then I eat. If it were the past tense, itte tabemashita, that would mean that this were the past tense. I went and I ate. So that's what we covered with sequence of events. Things like 図書館に行って勉強します。スイカを切って食べました。スーパーに行って家に帰ります。I go to the supermarket and go home. And things like that. So does anyone have any questions on sequences of events? Yes, if we use the te form for, whatchamacallit, for adjectives, you can also make a sequence of events. On my screen, my face is super choppy. I'm in like my OBS studios. Is it super choppy for you guys? If not, I'm not gonna worry about it. ビデオが大丈夫？ちょっとボケてない？ちょっとおかしくなってる？ちょっとおかしくなってるね。I don't know why. Anyway, oh well. Looks fine to me. Yes, it's choppy. ちょっと変えられるのかなこれ。ライブなのに。I can't change it. I changed it down to 24 frames per second, and I think that might be what my issue is. Let's see if turning off the camera helps. Did that do it? That's a little bit better. No, it's pretty terrible. 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see if that takes care of it.
Much better.
Okay, thank you. It's a little slow FPS. Looks like it's set to 15 FPS. 15! That's weird. Yeah, I had it at 24, but that wasn't quite working out. So I think we should be live now. And I popped it up to 30 frames per second, so that should sort of take care of it. In some literary contexts, especially songs and other forms of writing where the number of morae is relevant, one encounters the bare e form rather than the te form with the same meaning. Yes, that is true. Can I say this? Okite tabete ikimasu. You can say that, absolutely. So you're going to wake up and then go and eat. You can absolutely say that. Tabete ikimasu. Yep. We're going to cover that, I think, in lesson 7, actually, the usage of that. Perfect. Okay, the stream just stuttered a bit, but it still looks fine. Yeah, I stopped the stream for a second, and then I brought it back up. Sweet. Better looks fine to me. Andy, you always look fine. Oh, you know how to flatter people with Kyushu Trails. So yes, you can absolutely say things like okite tabete ikimasu, but te ikimasu is something we're covering in lesson 7, and that means to go and do something. That's a fun one. So does anyone have any questions on sequences of events? It's actually a little bit more complicated of a thing than the last section, so I assume there would be some questions, but maybe not. Not so bad. If you have any questions on sequencing events, you can go ahead and throw them in chat. I'm going to continue with yume and may I in Japanese, which was the te form plus mo ii. And des is optional. Desu ka? If it's may I do something, it would be desu ka, or just te mo ii with rising intonation at the end to make it a question. Cheers. So that is the mo form, the may I form, which is very, very useful, very common. Use it all the time. Can I use the bathroom, or can I start eating, you know, stuff like that. Or let's, for example, akete mo ii desu ka, or akete mo ii would be, can I open it? So can I open this bottle of wine, or can I open the window, or whatever, stuff like that. Swatte mo ii desu ka? Can I sit here? Demashite mo ii? Can I call you? Or can I call so-and-so? Either one is fine. You're blushing lots. My face is always red. I never blush. That's a I have questions on sequence of events. Do you brush your teeth before or after breakfast? Growing up, it's actually an interesting question. Growing up, and right until I came to Japan, I brushed my teeth before breakfast. The first thing I would do in the morning upon waking up was brush my teeth. And my family also does that. Everyone in my family, they wake up, they brush their teeth. It wasn't until I started dating Yuki, I think, that I started brushing my teeth after breakfast, like before I go to work. I think after I started dating Yuki, I started brushing my teeth after work. I mean, not after work, after eating breakfast. I still do not brush my teeth after lunch. In Japan, at work, kids in school, people brush their teeth after every single time they eat. I do not do that. Apparently, it's really bad for your teeth to brush your teeth immediately after eating. Like, you're supposed to wait at least 30 minutes because the enamel on your teeth gets really soft or softer, and brushing your teeth immediately after actually can damage it. So, I just don't. I don't like brushing my teeth after lunch. Yeah, good question. 安藤さんは、桜... 桜の人. I've never seen that word. 桜の人. Does it mean 桜色? 桜の人. 桜って桜色? なんかピンクみたいな色. 桜. Cherry blossom. Interesting. 桜の色. Cherry blossom. I've never seen the word 桜 before. I like it. 桜の色の人です. Yes. Is using ka without this, でしょう, etc. considered rude? It's not considered rude, it's just considered grammatically incorrect. So, well, it actually just becomes a totally different thing. So, ika is something you can do. Like, ii desu ka means may I, right? Or not may I. Is that okay is what it means. Ii desu ka? Is that okay? Ika means something totally different. That ka at the end is sort of, I don't even know if I can explain that grammatically. It's a very casual form, and it's not a question marker. So it's just something different. If you use it at the end of a sentence without des or without the formal conjugations like tabemasu ka, taberu ka. In that case, it's like, I guess I'll eat. Taberu ka. Yeah, it's like, I guess I'll eat. But in a very informal way. Taberu ka. I guess I'll eat. So it's not a question if you use it in that way. It's something totally different. Taberu ka? You can say it, but it's not necessarily rude, it's just different. Taberu ka? But you don't really hear that. Taberu kai? It sounds like an old man, yeah. I guess it happens sometimes with old men, but you probably shouldn't speak that way. What about flossing? Flossing I only do at night. Thank you for the in-depth answer. You're quite welcome. I was trying to say you were the color of cherry blossom. I did get it. I understood it. I had just never heard that word before. I knew the kanji, so I knew that it was sakura flower, like sakura blossom, and then color. It was just the first time I heard it typed that way. But it kind of works. Sakura bana. Ah, okay. Nice. The actual reading, though, when you put it together, would take away the Japanese reading. It would become the Chinese reading, which would be oka. You're welcome, Kei-san. Okay, so, てもいい. その前に昼ご飯を食べてもいいですか? May I have lunch before that? So that was may I or can I? Can I, of course, is exactly the same thing. So the next section is something, if you have any other questions on てもいい, please feel free to throw them in chat. I'm going to move on to prohibition of activities, forbidding things in Japanese, which is the te form, and we talked about this one a little bit earlier, plus wa Ikemasen. And just so you know, that ha character is read wa in this context. It's like the wa particle, basically. Te wa ikemasen. The dictionary I use actually lists both sakurabana and oka, but from Yuki's reaction, my guess is that sakurabana is uncommon or archaic. That's my guess as well. Tabum. Yeah, she's over here nodding. So, te wa ikemasen basically means I forbid you to do something. You'll see it on signs sometimes when people are saying rules, particularly in schools. We'll use te wa ikemasen. For example, keitai, or nowadays, I guess, sumaho wo motte wa ikemasen. Motte kite wa ikemasen. You cannot bring a smartphone to work or to school or whatever. Sumaho wo motte kite wa ikemasen. Motte kite wa ikemasen, for example. So when you're listing rules and stuff in regular conversation, you're not going to be using te wa ikemasen. In the dialogue that we went over here, I used it sort of playfully as kaite wa ikemasen, or kaite wa ikemasen. So the person is sort of joking with A. C is joking with A that they are forbidden from going home. But no one would actually say it that way, especially with people who they're friends with, unless they're actually doing something that is absolutely unacceptable. When do I use the word uchi and when do we use ie? I see people tell it's the same, but they use it differently in different situations. It's a tough one. We both sort of were debating on this. We weren't sure. We're not sure even. It seems to me that you can use uchi just about anywhere, except for ie can be used to just mean house. So that house, like you could say ano uchi, ano ie, ano uchi. They seem to be completely interchangeable as far as I can tell. Uchi on its own seems to be, to me, can you please don't push? Uchi to me seems to be a little bit more like my home. Like uchi ni kairimasu seems to be more like I'm gonna go home to my house, more than ie ni kairimasu. Like if I say ie ni kairimasu, it's more like house. I'm gonna go back to my house, whereas uchi is more like home. Home. I think someone just said that actually. Yeah. C antonym just said a house is not a home. Yeah, that's basically the point. Is that uchi is more like home and ie is more like house, but ie can be used to mean home. So like I go back to my house. Ie ni kairimasu is fine. It means go home, but it is more like house. Whereas uchi just is home. It can be your apartment. It can be your house. It can be your castle. It can be your igloo. It can be whatever. Uchi covers all of those. Whereas ie seems to be specifically house, like a single building. Ikenya is another way to say house. It means single home. Aratte wa ikemasen. You cannot wash it. Is sumaho more common than keitai for smartphone? Yes. Yes, it is. I tend to use keitai for smartphone nowadays, but do you have your keitai? Can you show us your keitai? これスマホじゃん。スマホ。携帯持ってる? But because smartphones have become so prolific nowadays, sumaho has become the more common word, despite it being a loan word, right? So keitai, it means cell phone, right? And I still call this my phone or my cell phone, despite it being a smartphone. So you can use keitai to mean your smartphone, but nowadays when people say keitai, they think of something more like this. This is a keitai. This is a sumaho. It's a pretty big difference. Thanks for the retweet, Dan. So sumaho is a little bit more common. In my Tango N5 deck, they use both, just making sure. Yes, you can use both. But I think sumaho is becoming more common nowadays than keitai. Though people will absolutely understand you if you say keitai. That's Yuki's work phone. That's actually her work phone. We looked in the... 何年前からのものだったっけ? 20年? 25? 20? もっと前じゃなかった? It was like an 18-year-old cell phone is what that was. Andy is a penguin. Probably. That's a garake. Garake. Yes, it is a garake. It's rare to see a flip phone. Yes, it's her work phone. That's what they gave her for work. It's 18 years old. Garake. Haven't heard that word in a while. That's exactly what it is. Garake. I need to get a drink of water. I'm losing my voice a little bit. Flip phones are old, but do you remember when they were awesome? Mist Raven says flip phones are old. How's the battery on that still work? Yeah, that battery stays. How often do you even charge that? She charges it like once a month or something. Seriously, Yone? Like once a month is how often she charges that phone. It's on all the time. She doesn't turn it off. Charges it once a month. That's pretty awesome. Yuki's home screen isn't a picture. Screen pic isn't of you. No, that's weird. Neither is mine though. Mine is like a planet of some sort. No, it's a beach. I just use regular Google. Oh, this is my phone. That's her work phone. That would be really weird to put a picture of me on her work phone. But I think her regular smartphone is a picture of her dog. Japanese people don't put pictures of their boyfriends on their phones, I don't think. It's not really a thing here. I honestly think smartphones are pretty lame. I don't know. I like them. But I like not having them every once in a while. Like when I walked across Spain, I didn't have a phone of any sort. I didn't even have a flip phone. I didn't have anything for 6 months. That was awesome. I actually didn't miss it at all, except for once or twice when I got lost. Then it would have been nice. But otherwise, it was quite nice to just go 6 months without a phone. 18 years, that's a relic. Some people here might have only been alive for as long as that phone existed. Insert. What is this? I'm going to press something really quick. I apologize. I want to see what this does. I just got a random button just appeared on my screen. Insert ad. I don't know if that did anything or if that's just for the replay. But anyway, that was an interesting button. I hope everyone can still hear me. So our next section is the section that I ranted about like crazy last week. And it's explaining a reason in Japanese. And that is, well, Genki presents it as reason plus kara, ending a sentence with kara. And that usually there's the explanation coming, the thing you're explaining is a sentence that comes before that. So there'd be two sentences like, 明日パーティーに行かない。忙しいですから. And that's how Genki presents it. I think that's a ridiculous way to introduce the conjunction kara. It should be introduced as 忙しいですからパーティーに行かない or something like that. 行きません. Because that's what it is. It's conjunction. And this usage of kara is actually an unusual usage of kara that's used in a situation where if like you say something and then the person looks at you incredulously like, why? Why did you say that thing? And you are explaining yourself. 忙しいですから. Because I'm busy. And that's far less common than you actually explaining yourself from the outset. 今週末は忙しいから行かない. That's way more common. So, just so you know, this is actually a conjunction. Take it with a grain of salt the way Genki teaches it. I taught it that way in this lesson while I complained about it the whole time because that's how they taught it. But read about Islam, says this person. I have read about Islam a bit. I should read a little bit more so that I'm informed, but you should always be as informed as you can about anything. But thank you for your opinion. My first phone was one of those block Nokia phones. Oh, nice. Indestructible. It probably still exists somewhere. Nobody can break those things. That's the meme, right? My first phone was first I had like a little, like a pay-as-you-go brick. It was like from Virgin Mobile, I think. It was a gray brick. The only game on it was one of the same ones that's on Nokia phone, the little, the snake game. And then I bought a flip phone, a Sprint flip phone with a regular plan. I got that when I was like 17, I think. Yeah, that was my first real phone. I don't remember what it was called, though. It was a piece of junk. It was expensive, though. I spent a lot of money on it. I'm old enough to have had one. I did, too. I remember that big mobile phones with a car battery. I had one of those giant relic phones, but it didn't work. I bought it at like a thrift store when I was like 5 or 6 just because I thought it was cool and I would play with it. 古いから早く寝ます。即寝ます。Is this correct usage? Not quite, I don't think. Unless it's a word I don't know about. 辞書どうした年どこIt's gotta be 早く寝ますね。早寝する早寝ね。 Demo, I don't think that's what they're trying to do. Hayane isn't very common in Genki. Well, it's not presented in Genki, I mean. So hayane is actually a noun that means, or a pseudo verb. So hayane shimasu would be one way you could say it. But if you're using the verb hayai, hayaku nemasu. Oh, Yuki already corrected you for that. But yes, I think oi is the adjective for an old person. Toshidakara. Ah, you already answered? Ah, furui kara. Ah, toshidakara. Yeah. Okay, that's what. I didn't even notice. I wasn't even thinking about that part. I was thinking about the hayane. So hayane is one way you could say that. Hayane shimasu. I've never used it personally, but it's one way you could say it. Or hayaku nemasu. But yeah, Yuki pointed out toshidakara because you don't describe people, well, old people, as furui. Furui is old things. Some people I've heard describe themselves as furui ningen dakara. So they're an old human or an old, but that means like an old styled human, right? It's not an old person. Furui ningen dakara or furui hito dakara. You wouldn't actually say that you were furui. So they're saying they are a type of thing, which is an old human or an old type of person, which is like, it basically means old fashioned. I'm old fashioned. Furui ningen dakara or furui hito dakara. So that means an old fashioned is basically what it means. But if you want to say that you are old, you would just say toshida. Toshidakara. Which means I'm old, basically. I've never seen oi to mean old age. Ah, yeah.
Oi is noun or verb. オイルだけどアジェクティブが良かったらか conjugation verb の置いているから
Right. 置いているから You could, but I don't think that's probably the one he's going to go for. Toshidakara seems a little bit more. Yeah, nobody's really says Toshidakara is the most common, is what I would say. Rojin is a way that you would talk about, yes. You would talk about older folks in general. So Rojin homu is like an old people's home. So Rojin homu is, yeah, that's what you're going to be using most commonly when you're talking about old people in general. If you're saying I'm an old person, you could use it. Rojin dakara hayaku nemasu. You could say that. You could say it. Definitely. Granted, maybe I've fallen afoul of a bad dictionary entry for oi or hit a rare word or archaism. It's pretty old. Yuki was mentioning how it can be used as a verb. Oiru. Oiteru would mean I'm old aged. It's a verb that means to age or to grow old.
Just oi is noun.
Yeah. And then oi on its own is actually a noun, not an adjective. And it means old age, like the noun old age or old person. And that one I've never personally heard. It's not very common. But it is a word, and it does mean old age. But yeah, in like colloquial conversation, you're going to see something more like toshidakara or rojin. Yes. So closer in meaning to aging or growing old. Yes, correct. Konbanwa, Kiz Torres. I'm so late. I will follow until the end and watch it again tomorrow. Thank you both for these great lessons. No worries, Kiz. Tonight, you didn't miss too much. It's just the question and answer based on lesson 6. So I'm just going over people's questions and things that they haven't quite understood from the previous live stream and any other questions they may have in Japanese. So please feel free to ask any questions you might have, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. And anything that I can answer will be answered by the person next to me from next to me. Unless she wants to come on camera. Usually she doesn't. She's shaking her head no. Oh, this was brought... We need to get you a mic, though. You don't necessarily need to be on camera, but it would be good to have a mic for situations like this, I think. We'll have to get you a mic soon. Oh, this was brought up in the Discord channel, and I still have a long way to go. But what did you do after Genki 2? What did I do after Genki 2? That's a good question.
It was slightly different with the sentences from Genki 2.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a different different question, he means.
そうですか。
He means what did I do when I finished Genki 2, the textbook. So I didn't actually use Genki 1 at all. I didn't use Genki 1, and I didn't start using Genki 2 until I was at a point where I knew like half of Genki 2, the book, already. So I started Genki 2 in the middle, around lesson 16 or 17. During one of my iTalk lessons, we had sort of hit a roadblock in my Genki lessons. I was doing so many, I was doing one every single day, that we needed more of a structure to my lessons. So my teacher suggested that we go ahead and start using Genki 2, like the later editions, because I needed some work with very, very formal Japanese and stuff like that, which it does cover some of. So that's the only thing I've used as far as Genki goes. So after I finished Genki 2, I just went back to what I was doing, which was I was using grammar dictionaries. I was picking up vocabulary from blogs and like news websites and books and music and stuff like that, and just everyday life. And then I would look up words that were relevant to what I was interested in, because I was already living in Japan. So basically, if I was going to do a new activity that day, I would look up words that were relevant to that activity, and then I'd try and use them throughout the day, like while I did that activity. For example, mountain climbing or hiking, or mostly mountain climbing and hiking, or going to the beach. Like if I was going to go to the beach one day, I'd look up words related to the beach, and then I'd try to use them when I went to the beach, and I'd add them into an Anki deck so that I could, like earlier in the week or something, and so that I could remember them and then keep going after I'd used them. So I didn't actually use any textbooks, really. Right in the beginning I did, and then I decided I didn't like textbooks. Later on, I found them useful again, and I probably would have moved a little bit faster if I had gone ahead and used a textbook from the beginning, but I didn't personally use any textbook after Genki. There was a short point in time where I used one of these, an advanced textbook. Let me grab that. When I got past the intermediate stage, I used a book called Chūkyū Kara Jōkyū e no Nihongo, which is intermediate Japanese. It was from intermediate to advanced is what this means. From intermediate to advanced Japanese. And I found this book quite useful. It's made by the Japan Times, so it's the same company that makes Genki. It was kind of boring, I'll be straight with you. I did about half the book, and I got really bored with it, so I stopped. I might do it again. I might go ahead and run through it again so that I can do a proper review of it. Because it was good. Like, it covered a lot of stuff. It just, the reading material in it was kind of boring. So that was the first textbook I used after Genki, but it was many, many months after I finished what I was doing in Genki 2. As far as my live streams go, I'm going to have to review a few intermediate textbooks to find out what I think is going to be appropriate for this channel. It may be Tobida, it may be something different. I've actually never looked at any intermediate textbooks, so I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. Wait, so ryōjin means old. So is the word for parent based on Yoshi? Ah, okay, thank you. Yuki answered down there. Ah, thank you. Yeah, it's dojin. So R-O, it's a long do-u. Let's write it. Oh, she already wrote in hiragana for you. Oh, okay, sweet. Thank you. Appreciate it. Will you start Mina no Nihongo after Genki 2? No. Mina no Nihongo actually covers almost the exact same stuff as Genki 1 and 2. It's just all in Japanese. So we'd end up just going over all the same stuff. Mina no Nihongo doesn't actually go into any greater detail than Genki. It's very similar. It's just all in Japanese, which is cool if you have a teacher. Mina no Nihongo very, very much requires a teacher, because otherwise, you're going to have difficulty reading the descriptions and the explanations of stuff because it's using stuff you haven't learned yet. So, yes. No, I'll be moving on to something different. Why is Genki so popular among others? Just curious. Genki is probably one of the few sort of official textbooks out there. There's a lot of Japanese textbooks out there, but most of them are written by like a single person. So they're not really textbooks. Like, they are, but not in the traditional sense that they were written by actual professors or teachers various experts in the field. Most of the Japanese textbooks out there, like Japanese for busy people or Japanese from zero, are just one dude, and they're usually a guy like me, like a foreigner like me, who's not actually, doesn't actually know much. Like, they know a lot about Japanese, of course, and we know the benefit of a non-native writing a textbook or teaching Japanese is that we know what it's like to learn it. We remember the things that we had difficulty with, and we're able to sort of point learners in the right direction because we know what confused us. So we have a better idea than a lot of native speakers of what will confuse other people who are learning. But Genki was written by mostly or all Japanese professors, so they're experts in the language. So it's sort of more respected because it's kind of, quote, official. So I think that's why it's more popular. Also, it's all in English. All the explanations are in English, so that makes it a little bit easier to use on your own solo. Whereas Minna no Nihongo, which is also popular, it's also in Japanese, so it's kind of difficult to use solo. So I think that's part of why Genki is quite popular. How do you feel about Taikim? Is it as good as Genki? I used Taikim. I actually did a review on him on my channel. I loved Taikim's content because it was free and he went into more informal Japanese, which I found very beneficial. More recently, now that I've had people like in the Discord and stuff talking about some of the stuff he says, I realized that he's not always right. He makes mistakes. So, or he makes certain claims that are not necessarily completely accurate. I still think a lot of his information is good. A lot of the sentences in there are really great. I like his examples. I think he explains certain grammar points well, but not everything is perfect. It's good, but once again, he's not native Japanese. He's learned all this stuff on his own, and he does make some mistakes, just like all of us. I make mistakes as well. That's why it's so great having a team, both of us right here, so that we can sort of go back and forth when things I don't know, she might know. And surprisingly, sometimes I have some information that she didn't know about too, every once in a while. That's always fun. So yeah, I do like Taikim, but sometimes I'm not so sure now. Sometimes. He also uses u and do verbs, which I'm not a huge fan of. And his content about des and da and their differences, I don't completely agree on. But otherwise, I think it's great for something free. Like, you can't complain about something free. I see, it looks like immersion is the way to go. Haha. I mean, if you can live in the country, yeah, immersion's going to be great. And I was a huge proponent of immersion back in the day. Nowadays, I think there can be a balance. I think immersion's great. Depends on the type of immersion you're talking about. I mean, immersion in the country is obviously going to be quicker. Immersion in content is also great. I did that myself. But also targeted learning is important. You're going to learn grammar and stuff faster if you actually target it and learn it that way than you are if you just try to pick it up naturally. It's faster. So it very much depends on your goals. What do you think of Watashi no Nihongo? I've never heard of it. You have to throw me a link into, I don't know if you're in the Discord, throw a link up in there and I'll have to take a look at it. I've never heard of Watashi no Nihongo. Maybe I did. I don't know. I'm not sure. Aren't there like 20 plus lessons each Genki? No, there is 12 in Genki 1 and 11 lessons in Genki 2. Did someone already say that? Ah, okay. Thanks. Amakro covered it. All right. Also Seabold, sorry. Let me just make sure someone didn't already answer these questions. Oh, haha, it corrected to the wrong kanji. Good call. I'm going through Boom Pro along with Genki. Nice for more informal stuff. Oh, I've heard a lot of great things about Boom Pro. I find books that provide more linguistic detail very helpful, obviously, but I suppose the average person wouldn't. I would have preferred Genki to introduce the verbal forms using the native words. What do you mean by native words exactly? Verbal forms using the native words. Ah, like godan verbs and ichidan verbs. I'm assuming that's what you mean? For them and explaining their general uses in some detail. I think that might confuse non-linguists, though. Yes, the idea of u verbs and do verbs is kind of silly. I agree. I don't know why they did it. My suspicion is that they did, since they're properly called godan or quintigrade and ichidan verbs, monograde. Yes. I don't know why they did it. In Japan, they teach Japanese kids godan. That's how they teach Japanese kids. So why did they decide to make something new for the foreign learners of Japanese? It doesn't make sense to me. Godan makes way more sense. So that's another thing that bothers me a lot about the book. My suspicion is they thought it would be too difficult for us, non-Japanese people. That's my suspicion. It's a pessimistic suspicion, but it wouldn't surprise me. Godan is probably too difficult for those silly foreigners, is seriously what I feel like might have happened. But that's quite a claim I'm making, so take it with a very big grain of salt. It's just the feeling I get. What do you think? She thinks that that's probably what happened too. I'm the immersion guy, and I agree. I found a balance works incredibly well, like watching this stream. I appreciate that Seabolt Speaks. Yeah, Seabolt Speaks, he's a big fan of, you're a big fan of Matt, right? One of these days I got to do a video at Matt. Immersion when you don't live in the country is very hard. It's hard, but it can be done. Watching lots of content, surrounding yourself by it. But true immersion means you're living it day to day and using it every day. Like, that's what immersion has traditionally been. The more common form of immersion that is popular now, or sort of stylish now, I guess, is the just listening. But I wish I remember what I did about English. Share links on Discord. Mizenki. Show me all the forms what the Japanese actually call them. Yes, I need to make a video about it, actually. Classical Japanese would be more comprehensible if one's introduced to Godan and Ichidan verbs, since the classical language has Yodan, Tudan, and Tunidan. Ooh, I've never heard about those, but I know they study that in high school. And yeah, that's a feeling I get too, even though some Western languages are just as verbally complicated as Japanese. Nothing is as complicated as Japanese. How dare you say such a thing? I'm just kidding. Konnichiwa, study desu. Hayaku kita. Osoku kita. Osoku kita. Yeah, I don't know how I read that as hayaku. German has umlaut all through its verbal paradigms. French and Spanish are a mess of suppletion in some verbs. Have you discussed apps? Which one is your favorite? Daijoubu da yo. Yeah, there's many languages that are more complicated than Japanese, I think. Like Hungarian, for example. Never gonna happen. One of my favorite apps, Kiz, is the app it's just called Japanese. And it's a dictionary. And it's got, if you look here, there's like all kinds of words that you can just sort of, oh, can I not do that on, it'll just bring up random words. But it's a dictionary, so you can search words and it'll bring up information about them with various, it uses the same library as jisho.org, which isn't the best. But it's got examples and stuff, and it's free, and it's got various grammatical usages, all the conjugations, and stuff like that. And you can make notes and make flashcards and stuff like that. And that is the only app I use for Japanese anymore. With that said, someone mentioned Tai Kim earlier. Tai Kim actually has a free app. It's his whole grammar book, the whole entire thing on your phone. So that's pretty cool. I like that app. There's a couple apps for using if you use WaniKani that a lot of people here like. I don't know any on Android, and I don't know the name of the one on iPhone, but a bunch of people here like to use those. Some people seem to like Boon Pro. I don't know if there's an app for that, but I don't know much about the modern apps out there right now for learning Japanese. You got to check out Nihongo. It's similar, but you can upgrade the spoken portion to high quality audio, and they have audio for sample sentences. Ooh, interesting. I'll have to take a look at that. Thank you for the tip. Nihongo. Sweet. Okay, so we got super off track with my rant about Genki from their strange way of teaching kata in lesson 6. So let's go ahead and jump to the last section of this lesson, which was offering assistance in Japanese using mashouka, which was taught in lesson 5, I believe, to mean shall we, or let's do something. Now, depending on context, it can mean shall I, so mashouka. Tabemashouka generally would mean let's eat, or shall we eat. But mochimashouka, carry, probably doesn't mean shall we carry it. It's probably contextually obvious in that situation that it means shall I carry it for you. So it's sort of a polite way to say shall I do something for you, like tetsudaimashouka, shall I help you, or hon wo yomimashouka, shall I read you a book, like to your kid or something. Hiru gohan wo tsukurimashouka, shall I make lunch, stuff like that. So if anyone has any questions on the mashouka invitation to help people, go ahead and let me know in chat and I will answer your questions. Flaming Durdles for WaniKani is good. Ooh, nice. Yep, I use Boom Pro and Anki. Ah, yes, and Anki. How could I possibly forget Anki? Anki is my favorite app, probably of all time. On iOS, it's expensive on iOS. I have it on my computer, of course, every computer ever. And on iOS, it's expensive. It's like $30, but I paid for it. And it was worth every single penny because I use it every day for 2 years. And I don't really use it much now, but I do have it right here. Here's my Anki. Oh, looks like I gotta upgrade it. Oops, continue. There we go, upgraded. So, N1 words we've got together mutually. It's basically just a SRS app for spaced repetition, for studying vocabulary and stuff like that. I usually like to make my own sentences, so I don't have any recent decks, but it is absolutely invaluable to have some kind of SRS application, whether it's something like Memorize or Anki. I prefer Anki because it's easier to make your own decks and to sync between computer and, well, it's probably not easier to sync, but it's easier to make your own decks than in Memorize. I love Anki. Anki is the best. Bunpo does not equal Bunpro though. Agreed. Bunpo means grammar and Bunpro is the app. Lingo Deer ga suki da. Ooh, I think Seabolt Speaks interviewed the guy from Lingo Deer. Learn Japanese with Bucha is a good app for vocabulary. Nice. Love the recommendations, guys. Keep throwing them out there. As an early learner, I use Anki Droid personally. I have made a few flashcard decks as well and found some online that were, useful. Yeah, that's what I have. I have Anki Droid. And I tried to continue my tangent on classical verb conjugations, which I think are cool, but somehow ended up backspacing back a page. Oh no! I hate when I do that. I downloaded the app from the back of Genki version 3, showed in Andy's review video, so now I can get the audio on iOS. The Genki vocab app is good and was free for a while. Is it not free now? Did they start charging for it? That's a bummer. But yeah, the Genki apps are okay. I don't love the listening app, which is why I actually went and made listening videos on my Patreon because I just didn't like how they did it. But the conjugation app that they have is apparently really good for practicing conjugation. So that's pretty cool. Technology is lovely except where it isn't. Would tabemasen ka and tabemashou ka be roughly the same meaning? So they're very, very similar. So tabemasen ka it's sort of an explicit invitation. It's like, won't you go with me to eat or something? Or won't you eat? Tabemasen ka? Whereas tabemashou ka is more of a, why don't we eat? Shall we eat? Whereas tabemasen ka could just mean, why don't you eat? Or won't you eat? It doesn't necessarily mean together. You would need some more context or information like issho ni tabemasen ka and tabemashou ka are basically the same meaning. But you need that sort of issho ni to make them the same. Did you make your own decks mostly or use community-made ones? Depends. For remembering the kanji, I used a community-made one. And I edited it myself. For vocabulary and stuff, I found decks that I didn't make myself, like community decks, boring. Like I got bored with them really, really fast. And they rarely or never had sentences. So I like having sentences. I like having sentences in my decks. It makes it way more easy to figure out how to use words because I found that if I just learn words alone, when I tried to use them, I almost inevitably used them incorrectly. It always turned out that, oh, we don't use that word, or, oh, that word isn't used in that way, or it's used in this kind of situation, but not in that situation. So if you actually put a vocabulary word in a sentence, obviously it takes longer to do your reviews and maybe you don't know all the words in that sentence, but in the long run, you'll actually know how to use it. And also, you get to learn more words around it. So in the long run, it's just way better to use sentences. So I always made my own after that. You can use Anki Web on your phone instead of buying the app. The app looks slick though. The app is very slick. I quite enjoyed it. And if I were to get an iPhone again, I would probably buy it again. I'll be frank. I think it's worth it. And I'm very, very comfortable with supporting the app maker of Anki. The online, the website, and the desktop version is completely free. So I'm a big fan of supporting people who create amazing stuff like Anki. Bunpro is an app too. Yes, the fact you can't make a deck on Memorize Mobile is a huge flaw. Massive flaw. Massive flaw. You have to go on desktop. Granted, if I'm making like a large deck, I'm probably going to do it on desktop anyway because it's more streamlined, much quicker. But the fact that I can add a word to my Anki deck on my phone immediately makes it just that much better than memorize. What do you think of Heisig's RTK? Says Simon the Salty. RTK is really helping me, says Seabolt, but I know a lot of people don't like it. I think it was free at the start of the COVID lockdowns, not 100% sure now. I found that 2K vocab deck useful, and it has sentences as well as audio. Oh, nice. I'll get to your question 1 second, Simon the Salty. Yeah, man, I've got my money's worth 10 times over from paying for Anki. Word. I really agree to use vocab in sentence or context. The other benefit is you also learn many words in one time. Agreed, June. Would you consider sharing any of your Anki decks? I don't have any more of them. I've lost them all. I don't know what happened to them. That's the one problem. Sometimes databases get destroyed. All my decks are gone. I had a deck that had every single sentence from this book. Or no, I think I had 1 to 2 sentences for every single grammar point. Maybe not every single sentence, but I had at least 1 or 2 sentences from every single grammar point in this book. Took me months to make, and it's gone. I lost it. I would absolutely consider sharing my decks if they weren't all gone. How depressing is that? It's very depressing, actually. Manabi Reader is a great app. Anki would delete your data after you use some idle time. Yeah, that's what happened to me, I think. Okay, so Simon the Salty, RTK, ne? So I did RTK. I did the entire thing, 2,200 or 300 or something kanji, and I loved it. It was extremely... I found his method of memorization very useful. I used it for learning new vocabulary, not just kanji. I found his breakdowns of each of the kanji and the way he taught you how to write them very useful. And I just enjoyed it. It was nice to make that progress, that little bit of progress every single day. And I'm able to write kanji. Like, I can write kanji because of that book. If I see a new kanji, I can generally know immediately the stroke order, stuff like that, thanks to RTK. Now, downside is it doesn't teach you readings. And I knew it didn't teach readings, so I knew what to expect. But there's a second book in the series that's supposed to teach you readings, RTK 2. So I did the whole book figuring, okay, when I'm done with this, I'll get RTK 2. And then I'll learn the readings. But RTK 2 is garbage. The second book I'm sorry, it's garbage. It's not good. That's what I think about it. So the first book is awesome. But the second book, which is supposed to teach you readings, is not awesome in any way, shape, or form. But the first book does teach you how to write, and it teaches you how to recognize things, and you can pick up a lot of stuff just by recognizing the kanji that would take you much longer to do in any other way. Nowadays, wanikani is probably a better option because it teaches you readings, it teaches you words, vocabulary words that in turn teach you the readings along with each of the kanji. But RTK does do exactly what it says it will do, which is teaches you recognition and how to write kanji. So with that in mind, like if you know that when you finish you're not going to know how to read yet, you're just going to know how to recognize and write, it's great. If you keep that in mind. If you expect to be able to read Japanese when you're done with it, it's not great. You're going to have to do a lot of work afterwards to pick it up. But I think it helped me a lot. I think I was able to learn new words faster and learn new vocabulary words and readings faster after the fact because I already recognized the kanji and I already knew how to write them than I would have otherwise. But I'm still not sure how I feel about it. I'd probably use wanikani now if it had existed when I was studying. So that's my answer to that. Oh my god, is this the one for depression? I can't, it's like a little dot on my screen. I can't even see it. Utsuda yo ne. Yeah, it means depression. Utsuda. I can't actually see any of the parts on my screen. I just know that it's probably utsu because of the shape of the single pixel that is white on my screen. And that sounded like quite the deck. It was pretty awesome. I had some other really great decks too, but they're all gone. I do need to start getting back into studying Japanese myself. I feel like maybe I'll do that advanced book again. We'll see. I'm doing RTK and Tanto N5 at the same time, which is teaching me how to read them. It's working really well. Oh, that's great. Tanto N5. Nice. I use wanikani and can't write the kanji at all, but I know the readings. I feel like a combination of wanikani and RTK would actually be really useful if you had the time or were willing to put in the time. Or like, for example, every time a new kanji shows up in wanikani, referring to the remembering the kanji entry so that you could learn the writing. Something like that. They're pretty much the same in the end, the way they teach it. This is more of a question for Yuki, if she wouldn't mind. What's the hardest element of English grammar for a native Japanese speaker? English grammar. 一番難しい部分. She's thinking over there right now. She already read. As if.
As if のなんか意味3つあるよね、確か。
Things like as if, when she was in high school, she remembers being very difficult. She was actually in an advanced English program in high school, so she had English every single day of the week, English class, with a native teacher as well. So she did a lot of English, but things like as if, 多分 has been とかも難しかったんじゃない? Has been and stuff like that. Yuki has a hard time with has been and
has been じゃないよ。has プラス過去分詞の言葉と
has done とか
has done と had done は何が違うの?
Has done and had done and stuff like that. She has problems with has something something. I forget the name of that grammar point. There's a name for it, but tango, dang it, sorry. Tango ne? Tango 5 N5. Okay. The kanji utsu is exactly what you think it is. It's depressing. Agreed. Warao. Okay. So that brings us to question time and the ine o shite kudasai. I like the new version which someone came up with, which was, what was that again? It was thumbs up or kogeki shite kudasai. Please slam or smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Channel登録 onegai shimasu. Past perfect. Yeah, that's the one. Past perfect. Yuki and a lot of Japanese people, I think, have trouble with the past perfect.
Present perfect と present continuous のやつ。
Present continuous は問題なくない?
じゃない、perfect continuous なんか has
Present
been
perfect continue. Has been 何々. Yeah.
と
Some difficulty there.
present perfect がわからんかった。
Yeah, present perfect.
何が日本語何が違うのかわかんなかった。
They're not that different in Japanese, so it's hard to actually explain that kind of stuff. Those differences in English. But yeah, so the perfect and the anterior forms were confusing. Yes, pretty much. And still are, I think. I have done is the past perfect. I had done is the past anterior. Yes. Those she finds very difficult. And I think most Japanese people I know find those very difficult. I find them difficult to explain. Obviously, I can use them because I'm a native English speaker, but that's besides the point. So, last thing I want to mention tonight. 2 things I want to mention before we get going. New content coming to the Patreon from next week, I guess, early July. I'm going to be adding a section where on the Discord we have a free graded reader, which has about 900 pages of graded reading material on the Discord, right? It's from Tankobon, the company that makes graded readers. So we're going to be releasing audio of reading that 900-page document that has 900 pages of graded reading material. So Yuki's going to be creating audio files of her reading those graded readers so that you have something to sort of read along with. So we're going to be releasing my hope is that we can release one every single day. Just one of the little chapters in the graded reader every day is my hope. But hopes and reality sometimes are a little bit different. So it will probably be something like once a day or once every other day that we'll be releasing an audio file that has one section of that graded reader, Yuki reading it, so that you can read along with it at a fairly decent pace. Also, Pingaru. Anyone who joins, I should be able to get the promotion up and running. Anyone who joins the Patreon next month or is already a patron and continues to be a patron through the 1st of August will receive one of these Ando-san themed pins. So let's see if we can get that. That's Ando-san. You can't really see it in this lighting, but basically the white has sort of his sunglasses color. That's picking me up instead of... There we go. Sunglasses color. The gray shirt, black around the back, and it's a pin basically that Yuki makes using mizuhiki, which is a Japanese paper art that is very local to Nagano, and it's using these paper that we harden up, and so it's actually very long living. But basically, it's a mizuhiki pin that's based on Ando-san. So anyone who joins the Patreon in July is already a patron and continues to be a patron through August 1st will receive one of these pens, and that new content for reading Japanese will be coming out even if you live internationally. Yes. So, yes. Even if you live internationally, everyone will be getting one of those pins. She's working on making them right now. And that giant PDF, there's a giant PDF going around that's free. Yes, that's the giant PDF, and she's going to be reading that so that you have that to read along. And that's going to be going up once, probably every day, maybe every other day on the Patreon. One thing I want to mention, because I feel really bad when this happens, is don't join the Patreon today. Don't do it. Today is June 28th. So, don't join today. If you join today, you're going to be charged again on July 1st, and that makes me feel terrible. Like, I'm so happy when people join, but I feel really bad when people join, like, the last week of a month. And I can't change this setting. It's just something that Patreon does. So basically, you'll be joining if you join on June 30th, you're going to get charged again on July 1st. At least I think that's how it works. And I can't change it. So maybe I'll have to put like a notification up on Patreon or something, because I don't like that. It's not fair at all. So if you're thinking about joining the Patreon, please wait until at least July 1st. So anytime you join in July, as long as you maintain your membership through August, you'll be getting one of these, and the new content's coming out. So, he says with a smile on his face. Shh, no, that's not what I mean. No, I really feel bad about that, because that's not good. I wish there was a way to change the setting, but not a way. Well, that's amazing. How are you going to ship those stateside? That's going to be expensive. Yeah, it'll be a little expensive, but I mean, you guys support us so much that I'm not too concerned about it. I do have to mention that the pins will be for the second tier, so the $10 tier and above, because yes, the shipping is very expensive. So sorry guys in the $5 tier, I apologize, but unfortunately that doesn't cover the cost of the materials and the shipping. So $10 tier, anyone that joins the $10 tier next month will be getting one of the pins. The reading material will be available to both tiers, so both $5 and $10 tiers will be getting the reading material. I mean, the reading material is free. The read-along audio will be available for both the $5 and the $10 tiers. I need to make sure my Patreon is up to date. Well, that's amazing. How are you going to... Oh, yeah. Okay. Sweet. I think I've got all the questions answered. What's the name of the graded reader? It's a free tankobun. It's a free PDF. If you go in... I believe you're on the Discord, right? Actually, Kason, I'm not sure if you are on the Discord. If you're not, there's a link down in the description of this video. And I apologize if you are in the Discord and I don't remember. But in the Japanese resources section, there's a pinned post that has a spreadsheet of many different resources. The PDF's in there. I don't have a link to the PDF off the top of my head. But if you look for the tankobon free Japanese graded readers, if you just Google that, there's like a 900-page PDF that's free. And I'm pretty sure it's legally free. It's not like an illegal copy or anything. It's a legal free graded readers. But there's no audio for it. So we're going to be making audio for it. So that's going to be fun. No worries, Nath. Sorry you couldn't make it. But maybe I'll see you next week. Time for them to upgrade, says Carvatium. Could you ship in bulk to your parents and have them send it? That's not a bad idea, actually. Sibo speaks. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I'm not sure of the exact logistics, but I think they're all going to be international. Like 90% of them are going to be international. So I'm pretty sure the $10 Patreon tier covers the cost. It might cost that much for the materials and the time that it makes and the shipping, but come on, guys, it's worth, you're worth it. And you guys have been members for more than 1 month, so it's totally okay. Same, Nath. I got here a little too late.
One that probably like sending timeがめっちゃかかるんじゃない?
Yeah. It's gonna take a long time, but oh well. But that's okay. Okay, so anyway, guys, that's my advertisement, I guess, for the Patreon tonight. I'll be putting more of that information on the Discord and on Twitter, and probably make a video for it. Next week I'll be here. Sweet. Looking forward to it. $10 no tia wo yes, motte yo. Yes, Moody Wasabi. It's been a while. Good to see you. So, that's that. I don't think I have anything else to say tonight. Anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you to my mod, Dan. Make sure you check him out. He's almost monetized. He's going to see that little button down there that has a $sign? He's like a couple hours of watch time away from that. So go watch a video on Come to Japan's channel to get him over the hump and get him monetized. Also, Seabolt Speaks has a YouTube channel. He does lots of interviews and stuff with Japanese learners and does basically like what's the word I'm looking for? Language learning materials, but very like raw language learning. It's great stuff. Check him out. Kyushu Trail was here earlier. He has a YouTube channel. Anyone else who has a YouTube channel and that I haven't called out, I think Ryu, he streams on Twitch. And there's a couple other people here who are content creators, so I always want to make a nice call out for those guys. So thank you everyone else that's been here for tonight. Thank you for your questions. Thank you to my patrons. Thank you to my viewers. Thank you for being here. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button. Don't smash your screen. Use your mouse to do it. That would be terrible. And yeah. All raw, babies. Seafold Speaks. Yeah. Oh yeah, Dan. I'm sorry, Dan. I always forget that. Dan is Come to Japan. Come to Japan, Dan. Check out his channel, Come to Japan. You should just change your channel's name to Come to Japan, Dan. Makes sense at this point. It's been great. Thank you, Chris Lane. Thank you. You've been here since the beginning of the premiere too, and thank you guys who are here for the premiere. So keep learning, and we'll see you next week for lesson 7. Have a great week, guys. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you next time. Have a good night. Thank you.